Welcome back to the Brighter Podcast. My name's BatSheva.
And my name is Chelsea.
And my life is super duper brighter thanks to Chelsea.
And my life is so much brighter thanks to BatSheva.
Chelsea and I love to share stories, tools, techniques that we use, anything that we can offer all of you that works for us, that helps to make our days brighter and helps us to live life more vibrantly, more grounded, and more authentically ourselves. And in today's episode, we're excited to share with you a new tool, at least very new for me, that we are actually still just at the tail end of, which is a detox cleanse protocol. But as we like to do before we get into the meat of the episode, we want to arrive all together in this space with you. So please go ahead and relax. If you can close your eyes, you can do that. And go ahead and take a nice, deep, soothing breath in through the nose, bringing in calm, quieting energy as you do so. When you breathe out through the mouth, you can let anything that's ready to go, go. Another breath in through the nose, breathing in calming, quieting energy. And breathing out anything ready to go, let it go. And let's do one final breath in through the nose, calm, loving energy. And breathing out all that's ready to go, let it go. And speaking of ready to let things go, I have been detoxing. I will share how I got started on this fun roller coaster of detox and cleansing. So it was the very beginning of the month of March. I was in my beloved chiropractor's office. If you are in Los Angeles, Axiom Health in Venice is the most magical, transformative chiropractic office I've ever experienced. And I was there to get treated. And I also take my Tai Chi class there and I do my workout there. And I happened to catch a sign, a couple of flyers on the wall that were announcing spring equinox detox. Use the Rife machine, spelled R-I-F like Frank E, otherwise known as the Spooky 2. Why is it spooky? Because for the 11-day protocol of this detox, all it needs is a clipping, it being, I guess, the spooky machine that they use. They take a clipping of your fingernail or your toenail that you donate, and they put it into the machine. The machine somehow uses your DNA from this clipping and remotely, for 11 days, at least that's this protocol, remotely detoxes you. Like, crazy. And I was like, what? And as I was reading about it, and I'd heard about it, and I'd had friends in that chiropractic office who'd done it. So I had heard about it, but it was the first time I kind of like narrowed in on this offering or zoomed in on this offering. And it also suggested that you might want to do in tandem another detox by the company standard process that they do a lot of supplements and sort of natural health products, powders and such. And that if you wanted to do in tandem another detox, there were a couple of options, including the 21-day liver and colon detox. And I talked to my chiropractor about it. I felt internally this pull to do it. I had nothing going on in March, no band gigs, no visitors. I had visitors in February. I have more visitors coming in April. I just kind of had this month stretching out ahead of me. And I'm like, well, maybe I'll fill it up with a detox. I've never done something like this before. And we actually muscle tested me, which they like have me put my fingers together, if you can see the video like that. And then we talked about the different options, and my muscles apparently told my brain that I was very interested and would like to do both of those detoxes together. The spooky one and the standard process one with all the supplements and the powders and the diet regimen. So the spooky, to clarify, does not have a diet regimen. You can eat whatever you normally eat except for alcohol. And I think I like a bigger challenge anyway. You know, it felt weird to me to not do anything But I will say, well, before I get into how they affected me, why don't I ask Chelsea the opportunity then to come in and say how she got started in her most recent detox?
Yes, thank you. So BatSheva had sent me the photo and asked me if I like the flyer and the information and asked if I wanted to join her. And I was, to be completely honest, I was thinking about financially and different things going on. And I was like, that doesn't seem like the right thing right now for me. But I did want to participate and kind of be like an encouraging friend and also just like a accountability partner. And I wanted to do a detox of sorts. I was like, okay, I've definitely been letting my diet slip or like been intaking some things that I don't really want to be taking. And so this is a good time to like reset and have someone to do that with. So I wasn't really sure what I was going to do. I knew that she was going to be doing it for 21 days. And so I had decided, all right, I'm going to do something for 30 days because I feel like that friends that I know that have done like sugar, like no sugar or Whole30 or whatever, I was like, okay, I'm going to do 30. I feel like that will give me a good chance to stick with it, whatever it is I decide to do. And things were kind of busy for me like the first week. So in the flyer that BatSheva sent, it talked about a heavy metal detox smoothie from Medical Medium. And I have Medical Medium's books. I was really into celery juice for a long time. If anyone of you all know who Medical Medium is, celery juice is totally his thing. I did it every day for quite some time. I loved it. Honestly, I just kind of got out of it because I think really a big part of it was I hated our juicer. It was just like, it was great whenever we first got it. And then it was like not working well. And it was such a pain and it was time consuming, and then cleaning the thing and just getting it out is huge. And so anyways, I had kind of gotten off of that. But I had this other book of his called Cleanse to Heal. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to read that book. I haven't read it yet. So, and in that book was the heavy metal detox smoothie. So I was like, okay, this will be a good point. So since I was busy the first week, I said, okay, for the first week, I'm going to kind of go in stages. So for the first week, I'm just going to do no sugar, like nothing that has sugar in it. No, like the only way that I would eat any kind of sugar would be if it was naturally occurring in like fruit, but no other sugar. Then week 2, I still hadn't quite started reading the book yet as week 2 was beginning. And I was looking in the pantry for something, and I just happened to find this like detox supplement that I had bought that was like an all herbal multivitamin, GI detox, and then liver and colon detox. It was like a 2-part supplement, but all herbal. And I was like, oh, perfect. I'm going to do this for the second week. So still no sugar, and add on the supplement. And so you take like one pill, like one of each in the morning, one of each at night, and then do that for a couple days, and then 2 of each in the morning and 2 at night, do that for a couple days, and then up it. And so anyways, that was how I had gotten started. And then I'd actually made one of my wishes on the Daily Dubs that if I was, that I would find some interest in this book, I would find time to read it, if that was what was meant for me to do. And what do you know, like within a couple days, I had started reading it, and I ended up staying up like almost all night one night, like reading basically the whole book. And I loved it. I loved everything that it said. I loved how it talked about it. It really has a lot of focus on your liver, which in my 20s, and honestly, even in high school and in my 20s and even into my early 30s, I definitely was drinking a lot of alcohol and not taking care of my body like the way that I do now anyways. And so I was like, wow, like this, like that can make a huge impact. Even though I'm not doing those things anymore, I really want to like give it reset, like cleanse out some of the things that could still be in there. So it was a perfect opportunity. It was so great that we were both going to be having the same smoothie every day and be able to talk to each other. So yeah, thanks to BatSheva, I have been on the cleanse with her. And I really think that it was amazing because after we decided to do it, there was like all this different like astrology stuff that was coming in about detoxing and like the power of detoxing in the spring. And then even like one of the Qigong people that I follow, they sent this thing out about the liver and the Qigong and the liver for the spring. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so in a line. Like I'm doing all these things and I didn't even know that they were all in alignment with each other. But that was really cool for me to see as well.
And also the fact that Chelsea and I had done that fast that we speak about in the earlier podcast, that I did 3 days, she did 7 days, and we both do quite often and regularly intermittent fasting. So the fun thing about the detoxing and cleansing, I mean, there's a flip side. So the fun part is that you can fucking eat. You can have this, like she said, this heavy metal smoothie, which is delicious. And the smoothie technically was not one of the spooky protocols, but the woman, this wonderful woman, Josie, who runs the spooky out of the chiropractic office, I think you can find her on Instagram, the Detox Queen 22. She is so caring and motherly and maternal. She didn't want me to really suffer from the effects of the detox. And so she recommended highly that I have that smoothie every morning to help counteract. She thought it would really support the detox. And then she also had some other recommendations, charcoal pills every day. And actually, once I did suffer for a few days from that detox, like serious flu symptoms, achiness, like headaches. It was so intense, to be honest, for just a few days, fatigue. But on the other hand, I was actually happy that it was happening because by then the standard process powders and supplements, they'd come a little bit later, so they weren't quite happening exactly the same time as when I started the spooky. So I knew that this was from the spooky detox, nothing to do with the supplement and powder detox and for the standard process. And so when I was experiencing all of those tough, actually, I wound up taking Tylenol PM like 3 different nights, which I generally never take that ever. Like I'm very careful about and mindful about what I put in my body, including medications. And that wouldn't normally go into my body, much like a processed food. It's just not my chosen item to put inside my body without like a really good reason. And I had a good reason. I was like, could not sleep. And I was like, I need to wake up in the morning and take my son to school and be a functioning adult tomorrow. Like I must sleep. But I was in so much pain. That's why I couldn't relax. So all that is to say, she offered me many options, lemon water, different things to support myself, including an Epsom salt bath, which did help a lot. But the smoothie, back to the smoothie. So the smoothie was like one of her initial offerings. And I did make it from the beginning. And it's so yummy. It's like blueberries and bananas. And I mean, yeah, there's some like cilantro thrown in there for good measure, and a bunch of different powders. But I normally intermittent fast and don't even eat breakfast. Maybe I'll have coffee. So for me, I was like, wow, like felt like this delicious fruity milkshake, and still does every morning. Of course, as Chelsea and I joke, I'm like brushing the blueberries out of my teeth for like 15 minutes every morning as well. So that part is it's really introduced me, including the standard process cleanse that I'm now on as well, because it has, as Chelsea said, mine doesn't have exact diet and recipe protocols that hers does, that medical mediums does, but it still has a lot of limitations. No eggs at all, no nuts at all, and no dairy at all, and no caffeine or alcohol, and then no protein other than their powder for the first 10 days. So I usually will eat fish, but now I'm back eating it because now I'm in the second half of the detox and they allow it. But in the first half, no fish. So this was actually amazing because, as I said, without needing to fast, at least I'm still enjoying food, which I love food, that's my jam. And so I was able to also, because of the restrictions, discover ways of eating and types of food that I hadn't really figured out how to cook in the past because I'm not a cook. I think sometimes these detoxes and cleanses are better for people who love to be in the kitchen, who love their freaking food processor. They love their farmers market veggies and their organic veggies. I'm not that kind of a shopper. I don't buy organic veggies and fruit. I have a family of 4. It's fucking expensive, and even more than that, I don't know. I choose to spend my money in certain ways and I just never, despite all the woo, which I love the woo and I love being healthy, I've never fully committed to full on just organic purchasing. So all that is to say, I've had to expand into a little bit more of that realm and including different foods. Like I bought a spiralizer and I'm making spaghetti squash like every day and it's delicious. And I had never figured out what buckwheat is. I found out it's not a grain. Did you know that? It's vegetable. think it's a legume. And I figured out how to make buckwheat. It's, by the way, the easiest thing in the world to make, but I had never done it. And that is a delicious substitute for the rice that I usually eat every single day. So I've been having fun. I've been eating really colorful, pretty meals. And I'm kind of over, I don't know how you feel, Chelsea, about that week that you took all the supplements. Like, I'm really over all the pills and the powders and the supplements. And I'm going to be happy to say goodbye to that part of the detox when it's done. What about you?
Yeah, I was happy that I committed just that 1 week of taking that. I'd actually thought about taking them throughout the rest of the time, but then with the medical medium, I'm doing the advanced 369 cleanse, and it's like nothing else besides what is listed. So it's pretty strict, but I did want to touch base. She talks about the smoothie that we're both enjoying, the heavy metal detox smoothie. And it's funny that it's so good. I remember that after the first day of starting the cleanse, I was like, all right, day one, here we go. And they have all the recipes. And of course, they look lovely in the book, except the heavy metal detox. It's like a really dark purple brown looking. And so I was like, oh man. And it had like barley grass juice powder and spirulina powder and Atlantic dulce flakes, and those three things I didn't know what they were or what they would taste like. And so then I'm like, all right, banana, blueberry, cilantro, and then these things and an orange, like weird, but surprisingly and delightfully, it is delicious. Actually, everything that I've made out of the book has been delicious. I will say I've definitely recognized how much salt I had been liking and enjoying, having no salt. The Atlantic dulce is like a seaweed, and so it's kind of replaces the salt with its natural salty flavor. But I've definitely been enjoying not taking any of the supplements. It's just the 2 powders and then the flakes in the smoothie, and those I find a little bit more enjoyable than the others. And then being in the kitchen, it has been, as BatSheva said about fasting, fasting, it was like stay as far away from the kitchen as possible, because every time you go in there, like you're going to want something, or it's just like torture. And so I worked downstairs. I didn't even want to be upstairs, like where the kitchen is. I just would come downstairs and I would stay downstairs until it's like basically time to go to bed. And now it's like, I feel like, I'm like, gosh, like everything is evolving around this fat, like around this cleanse. Like there's so much juicing, and it's like 32 ounces of lemon water, 32 ounces of celery juice, the detox smoothie. If you want an apple for a snack, then you blend up the soup for lunch, and then another apple for a snack, and then you make the gigantic salad thing for dinner. And as BatSheva said, it's a lot of fruits and vegetables, so many for me anyways for this cleanse, which I love, and I don't mind being in the kitchen. It's just like whenever there's other things to be done is a little time consuming, and eating that often, because as she said, we have been like intermittent fasting. A lot of the times I don't even eat until like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So having to prepare all these things and get all this different things ready and time them out at least 30 minutes to an hour apart, and definitely has been that. And then I also wanted to touch on the fact about the organic. If you live where there's an Aldi's, go to Aldi's. Like they have organic produce that you can get that is cheaper than regular produce at the regular store. So like here in Columbia, Missouri, we have Hy-Vee, we have Schnucks, we have Gerbs, and then we have Aldi's, Natural Grocer, and our local natural food store, which is Clover's. And of course, I love to support local, so I try to shop from Clover's, especially if it's like local produce. Natural Grocer always has organic, but Aldi's is where it's at for like organic, because their organic is cheaper than the regular not organic food at like Schnucks or Clover's or Gerbs or Hy-Vee or whatever. So offer that up to any of the listeners.
I always say to Chelsea, every time she tells me what's happening in Colombia, I'm like, what in the world is going on with the magical vortex that is freaking Columbia, Missouri? Like I live in La La Land, woo central Los Angeles, and we don't come close to whatever is happening in Colombia, I have to tell you. And if we do, then I wish someone would tell me about it, because she has the coolest meetups. the most amazing support system for her as an entrepreneur, as a practitioner of all these beautiful holistic healing arts. She just has this community that literally one would give an arm and a leg for. And yet the weather still keeps me here in Los Angeles. So there you go. But thank you for that. We don't have an Albies. Would love it if we did. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And thanks, Mercury in retrograde. We're still here. So as I was starting to say, I did have a few days of suffering at the hands of my spooky detox. And yet I was happy because that meant I knew it was working. And by the way, I did do a bit of a diary online on the Brighter and Brighter.life Instagram. So you are welcome to check that out, to join our community, and you can see any of my updates there as well. But yeah, I had some rough days, and there was one day that I kind of picked, I don't know about a fight, but I kind of picked a semi-fight with my ex-husband. And that night I was telling Chelsea about it, and it brought up all these emotions and triggered all these like really difficult feelings within me. And I was telling Chelsea, like, I don't even know why I fucking like initiated that. Like normally I would not have done that. And she actually responded that, you know, maybe some of these feelings I was feeling had to do with the detox. Like I was almost ready to cleanse and detox these emotions, these patterns, these habits, these old feelings that had been stuck in me for decades during our marriage. And I was like, whoa, I had like kind of like a mind blown moment, because I think that's what it was. I think I literally initiated it in the middle of the detox so that the feelings would come up, surface, and be cleansed. That was kind of deep for me to experience.
I've definitely felt the emotional side of it as well, especially I think because a big part of like the comforting would be to eat something, or to eat something that's not great for me, or that, you know, doesn't make me feel great, but definitely numbs. And so really like detoxing all of that out and sitting with the emotions and just feeling them and just being with them, it's just so much more clear. And it's not that I don't have the opportunity to do that whenever I'm not on the detox. It's just that maybe that it's a little easier, like whenever I commit to something, especially if somebody's in it with me, then it's like, okay, I'm going to stick to it. Like I'm not going to give in to these indulgences or desires because I've said that I wasn't going to. And so it's not even just like I guess that is something to say, like a commitment to yourself and commitment to other people. Yeah, I've definitely detoxed some emotions, some feelings, journaled about some things, meditated on some things. I've done some tapping sessions if anybody's into EFT tapping. And I've also I did a somatic breathwork session as well. And those have all been helpful for me.
Also, I agree that accountability and just the support that we've given each other is so helpful. It's not so lonely. It's sort of more expansive even when you have a tough time, because you know you're going to grow from it with the support and unconditional love of another. So I agree, having at least a coach, if not a friend, to go through it with, or a partner, is really advisable. And I think another thing that's happened, I forgot to mention, so neither Chelsea nor I drink alcohol. So for us, giving that up for the detox is like, we're not giving anything up, you know. And truthfully, we both, as you all know, if you've heard our podcast, we live a pretty health-forward life. But we both, as you know, if you've heard many of our podcasts, love and are semi-obsessed with the cacao that Chelsea actually sells through her company Soulscription. And Chelsea and I both partake of that daily. I mean, I think I do. I don't know if you do.
Yeah, like 5 or 6 days a week. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a heart opener, and it just uplifter in similar like what caffeine might do for someone, but more heart-centered.
Yeah, it definitely has the mood enhancement to it with the anandamide. It makes the difficult situations easier for sure.
And that's what we didn't have, right?
Yeah, I've been missing. I also have like a morning ceremony ritual with some hape, and right before I do my meditation and breath work, and I've been missing that as well. That one's just like, I just love a good ritual. I love doing something. I love the devotion, the act of devotion to the practice. And yeah, I've been missing those things.
I love habits too. And it is like a ritual for me. And just the comfort of daily habits is more my thing. And that's why even though I don't do caffeine anymore, I still drink decaf coffee, not really now, but because I love the pour over and I love to, just have that ritual, like Chelsea said. And the cacao became part of my ritual, my daily ritual. So without those, I find myself missing them, not just physically and emotionally, but definitely, the word crutch comes to mind. It is emotional is what I'm talking about, like a psychological and emotional crutch, because life is hard, and not every day, but throughout maybe one wonderful day, we still might have like several times that are fucking tough. And in that moment, what's easier than just grabbing some dark chocolate or having cacao or something that's not even like doing a line of Coke? It's like something quite uplifting and perfectly fine, but we can't do that during the fucking detox and cleanse. And it's not just like 3 days, it's a month, as Chelsea was saying, or, 21 days or so. In my case, it's going to be almost a month, actually. So that's really tough. And I find that whereas the detox and cleanse has definitely cleared this path for me to walk down a more healthful and healthy conscious, food conscious, diet preparation, food conscious road for myself, and to offer that to my children if they want. They don't seem to, but you never know. I'll be the role model. And yet that emotional desire to just take the pacifier and stick it in my mouth, like the adult pacifier, which is like the dark chocolate. I don't know. It's not helping me with that so much. I think that's the work I have to do outside of the detox.
I couldn't agree more. The detox for me, the cleanse, has definitely curbed cravings of things that I was having, like sugar for sure. And by curb cravings, I mean that it's not like I'm like, oh my gosh, I want something. It doesn't mean that whenever I'm feeling sad or hurt or any of the lower frequency feelings, that I don't want to have that, but there's not the craving there. That subsided after the first week for me. Also, BatSheva had mentioned to me that right before her and her ex-husband went vegan, that they had watched a documentary called Forks Over Knives. And kind of backing up to whenever I first went vegetarian and then vegan, I had read some books and I had watched the documentary What the Health. And basically after I watched that documentary, I just could not. I had actually meal prepped a bunch of chicken and like just greens, like broccoli and asparagus and different greens. And I couldn't eat the chicken. And I am not the kind of person that throws anything out. If anything, I am like the person who overeats because I don't want to throw something away, or who maybe it was a day or so after the expiration date, but it still smelled good and tastes good, so I ate it anyways. Like that's definitely me. And so for me to throw out good, like an expensive chicken that was already marinated and cooked and everything, that was something. So that was huge. And then fast forward to this cleanse and detox, and BatSheva had shared with me about her ex-husband watching the Forks Over Knives, and I hadn't seen that one yet, so I watched that, and it really just gave me that extra oomph, that extra knowledge of like, oh, this is why I'm doing it. Like, this is what's happening in my body. Like, this is what is happening. Like, this is what like has been proven, because as a ICU nurse, like just kind of comes with the territory of like wanting the data, wanting the scientific research. And so having that, and then also being able to feel in my body the difference. First, I will say that I was definitely having trouble sleeping as well for a couple nights. It could have been the detox and the cleanse, and it also could have been that my husband is gone, and I definitely have a little nighttime worries or let certain things like get into my head. So, but actually the last 2 nights I've slept amazing, so I'm going to chalk it up to the detox and the cleanse for those few nights that I was restless. But yeah, it's just like moving forward now, I feel like, okay, I've reset it. Now it's like easier to maintain. It's like getting back on the bicycle. Like I fell off the bike for a little bit. Oh, and now I'm back on and I'm riding down the smooth road again. It was a little bumpy there for a little bit on the gravel, but back on pavement now, and it seems like it's going to be a little bit smoother. I also cannot wait to have cacao.
Yeah, me neither. I love that metaphor of the bike and the gravel. That's great. Well, I think that's a good transition since your wishes for good night's sleep 2 nights in a row came true, as did mine, into the final little segment of our weekly podcast, which is the Daily W segment. And I'll go ahead and start us off with a win and a wow from my day. So I will say win number one, I wasn't planning to say this, but win number one is that I put my motherfucking foot down when it came to one of my teenage daughters, who shall not be named, who was driving me batshit crazy with her teenager-tude. And I did not take her to school. She took the bus, and I could have physically, it wasn't like I was being restrained to do something else, but it would have meant I would not have had the same time in the morning to do my daily routine of meditation, etc. And I was tempted because I see how behind the 8 ball she was, but I held my ground, and I'm so glad I did. I find it really hard to do. I've even mentioned it in past Daily Dubs on the podcast, but yeah, I held my ground this morning, and I told her she's getting her own way to school. If she's late, she's late. And then I worked with myself throughout my meditation with all my frustration and feelings of fury, anger, loss of control, et cetera, et cetera. And then I broke a coconut afterwards. All that goodness is win number one. And if you don't know why I would have broken a coconut, you must have missed our episode, 3 or 4, where we talk all about that beautiful tool. But go back and hear that episode. It's a good one. And then wow number one, my wow is I'm really grateful for the opportunity to share in this format with Chelsea about our lives. It feels so wonderful to be able to help others or potentially help others by things that I'm going through. Hopefully comfort others and help other people feel they're not alone. That is my life's goal and mission. And that's it. What about your wish?
My wish is going to be, for grace and assistance and divine orchestration and guidance with all things financial. I am diving into the tax prep portion of my year right now, and I just really want to get it finished and to get everything so far for this year documented and have like a system down. And so I'm just wishing for so much help and inner drive and motivation and patience, all of it, all things to help me get this done and to be on track and for it to be smooth sailing for the rest of the year and moving forward from now on.
I see that for you. I totally see it. It is happening. Yes.
It's funny because I'm so organized in every other area of my life. It's just like all the receipts are everywhere. So, but they'll be fine.
They won't be after today. They'll be all organized.
Right. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. This has been episode 21 of the Brighter Podcast, and we hope that you enjoyed. We hope that you will like and subscribe to our videos. We're on all the platforms, so you can see us live and with our faces in the videos on Facebook and YouTube. You can hear us on all the streaming platforms. Please share as we're trying to get the word out, and we so appreciate you listening. Have a great week, and we wish that your day is brighter and brighter.
Bye.
Bye-bye.